Okay, everyone, we're about to start another install. It's another On30 loco. Get the back off here. See, this one's actually got a 21 pin plug already on the lighting board, so I plan to leave this lighting board in and use a 21 pin Blunami we've got here. It should plug straight into there. We've already got the existing speaker in here behind this cowl. I've disconnected all the track pickups to the board, so there's no track pickups, hence why we only have one plug now going to the loco, which will have its headlights and motor feed. And we're going to run this one on a 450 milliamp hour LiPo battery, so we'll see how this one goes. Like I said, all we need to do now is connect up so I've made up a loom here with a male connector, battery JST connector. So we'll connect that up to the old track inputs on this motherboard, and then we'll give it a trial, and hopefully the LEDs and the motor and everything should all marry up. I may have to change the polarity round on those connections depending on what's coming in, because remember, this did get a DCC signal in, so it was used to having an AC signal. We're now going to put DC in there. So anyhow, I'll fire up the old soldering iron, and as you notice, if you're from the US of A, we say solder in Australia because we don't have anything against the L that's in that word. So anyhow, I'll hit pause for a moment, and we'll come back and we'll put this together. Speak with you soon. Okay, so we're back here. Now, taking apart the tender. See, we've got the 21 pin plug here. We've taken that speaker out, and it was the original Bachman speaker. It was in there, and for some reason I've got about 1.5 mega-ohms between the connections on there. So I'd say that speaker has seen better days. So what we're going to put in there is an ESU speaker. It's the only round one I've got that's similar. When we put it into the enclosure, so we'll solder that on in a minute, put it to the enclosure, and that enclosure should fit right on there. And I'd say we'd be able to use a bit of super glue to hold that in place in situ. So we'll do that, put that together, and then we'll put the decoder in there. We've got the decoder here ready to go. 21 pin plug, that should screw all back together like that. We've soldered on our JST power plug to go onto the battery, and that's soldered directly to the board, so we should be all ready to go. So let's solder these wires on here. I'll need to go and put the looking glasses on because I'm getting blind, I can hardly see. And 10R iron. Now, a lot of people use, go and put extra flux on their solder. If you're using a good quality solder with good flux in it, there's no need to add extra flux to the actual solder joint to do it. Get that up. That's on there nicely. And we'll take the other end, put that on there. Soldered, that's a nice join there. So they're on there ready to go. Now if we have a close look at this board, so let's see if we can zoom in. I hit the zoom button and over to here. Get the camera around a bit, up a bit, there we go. So if we look at this, let's see if we can zoom in one more. Yeah, that'll do, look at that. That's a bit better. We zoom down here, there we go. Get into focus. So we've got our 21 pin plug on there. I'll just get the pointer of prevalence, and we can see we've got our 21 pin connection here. These were our track pickups that went to the wheel. So what we've done there is soldered our DC supply, which comes straight from this JST socket, which has got a JST plug connected on the end, which now will connect straight to the battery. Over here we've got our speaker connections, which are there and there. And then we've got our lighting connections down the bottom for our headlight and our tail light. So we're using the existing board. We're just going to plug a 21 pin Blunami decoder into here and screw this all back together, and we should be a goer. So let's just zoom out for a moment. Go back out there, and let's, before we put everything together, let's just move the speaker over there. Let's put the Blunami chip on the 21 pin socket. And if I get the battery, so this is the battery we're using. These are NXE power. They're actually made for a drone. So we're using them for better things than a drone. We're using them for model trains. And we've got our battery here, so let's plug her in and see if we hear any noise. Get the plug in the right way. Okay, we got the blue light on our chip here, we can see. Tells us power to the board, and I can hear the air compressor clunking away on the speaker. So we know that's all working. So I can just unplug her now. Put the battery to one side, and let's put all this back in the tender. So let's do the speaker first. That back there. Now these speakers have got little guides to put our cables in. So let's just make sure we got those correct before we plonk the speaker down into its enclosure. There and there like that. Pull it back. Push our speaker into our enclosure. As you can see, zoom in a bit far out there. So if we can zoom in, you can see the wires are nicely protruding out of the speaker there. So let's push all this to one side. Let's take this decoder off here, so I don't damage it when I'm putting everything back together, because we can plug it in quite easily on its own later on. Go up to here. Now we need to put this speaker in and put a couple of dabs of super glue there. Now, one of the things I hate when I see people do is get the super glue container like this and then just go and spread it all around inside. What I do is I'll put it onto a piece of card, put the speaker in there, and then I use a little device like this. Oh, yeah, so we bring it back. See if we can zoom in on this. So it's a super glue applicator. If you can see, it's a bit like a tuning fork. So what it'll do is it'll suck a bit of, using the capillary action, it'll suck a bit of super glue up into that little fork. And then when you go and dab it on the edge, it'll just let that little bit of super glue release. So you're not going anywhere near the model with a great big hunk of glue that can create a mess. These are, I've seen these, well, I haven't seen these in Australia, but I usually, when I go to the States, when I go to a show, you usually find that someone will have CA applicators, which are these guys, and I usually buy a couple while I'm over there and bring home. This one now I've had for probably about 3 or 4 years and it hasn't broken. But what tends to happen when you clean them out and you use a scalpel or a blade to scrape the dried out glue from in between the forks is you break one of the forks off. That's what I've done with my ones in the past. I've only done it to 2 of them, so this is the 3rd one I've ever bought in probably about 10 or 12 years. But last time I was in the States, I think I bought about 4 of these. So I've got plenty of them spare when I get home. So let's zoom back out a bit and go to here, and let's put some glue down on this bit of cardboard. There we go. A little bit of glue down there. And let's take our speaker, put it into place. It just has to sit on this little plastic ridge that's there. Then using our super glue applicator, I can get a bit of glue, just put down on that edge. Just putting it on the edge there allows me, if I have to, pick the thing up and take it away. So what I can do is actually just go and put a little smear on the bottom here. That's right there. Again. So we've got a bit on all the 3 sides there. Then just place this down on top of the plastic holder it's in there. Find a spot and then just hold it for a little while till the CA takes grip, and we should be ready to go. So we'll let this sit here and cure, and then once it's cured, we'll put the board back in, and we'll be done. So we'll be back in a sec. Okay, so we're back here now. We've glued this in. It's nice and solid. So let's put the rest of it back together. So we've got our board here. It's got our lights already on there. So all we got to do is make sure these wires underneath are out of the way. This is wrapped around there, so it adds a bit of support. We just plump the eyes down so we can actually see what's going on. Get our screwdriver, pick up one of our screws, put it on the right end, and line that up, put that in there. Oh, here we go. I'll put on the screws, one of these guys over here. Try that again. Down through there. Get them up. Let's get another one for the back. That was this little guy, I remember, went at the back. Put him in. Lined up. Look out, someone's rung us on the, we'll have to pause this. Okay, so while I was doing that phone call, I finished screwing this in. So we've now got our 21 pin in there. So we can plug our decoder into the top here. That's in. And now should be able to plug our battery back in, and we should have some noise. Plug this back in. And yes, we have some noise. Let's unplug that and fit the back of our decoder on, our caboose back on. Our battery connection coming up there. And now all we need to do is put these 2 screws in the back. Go from here. in. This one here. In. All right. Now we should be ready to go. So let's plug our decoder back in. And if I bring the microphone down, you can probably hear making a bit of a chuff there. So this is going into an articulated loco. So I've got it set up for articulated sound, so that there's actually two chuffs that are slightly out of sync with each other. That happens. But yep, it's all back together. So the next thing now is to connect the loco up, check that our lighting all works, and off we go from there. So let's unplug this, unplug our battery. Excuse the squeaky chair. It does make a bit of a noise. You'd think I'd get a better chair for in here, being so I'm trying to record and the likes. But our plug goes back in here. And remember, the Bachmans have two plugs, but now we only need one because we don't use any pickup off the front wheels. So what I'll do is I'll lie this down on its side so that we can see the motion. And if I pan out from here, bring this down a little bit more, and you see the loco. We'll connect up our battery. So we get our battery plug here, plug that in. As I said with the previous install, this guy is he's gonna weather all of this and build a big hungry boards on the back with a big wood load, because it does have a wood stack on it. So obviously it's going to be burning wood. Now we get the phone, connect it up, and start up the Blunami app. And there it is there. So I hit connect, and it should connect to this one. Remember, I haven't set any name or anything in there, so it's just coming up as Blunami. Now if I hit the, now we're reading all the CVs. This is the beauty about this stuff. See how quick that took? If you did that in JMR, I would be waiting for a month of Sundays. There you go. So our horn's working. If we give it some direction, off we go. And you can hear that articulated chuff. Now it's not in phase with each other. Oh, we might have to turn that whistle down. Bell's working. Hey, that rings a bell. Turn that off. Now we've got lights. We've got a front light happening. You can see there, and our generator's picked up. So if we stop our loco now and put it into reverse, our backup light has come on here. You can probably see my finger glowing a little bit from the LED. If I turn the lights off, you'll see it stop. There we go. So our lighting's working, everything else is working. Now, if we want to set the DCC address in these, we just go to our CV settings. Oops, this is general settings. So in general settings, we can put in here the loco's name, and then there's its DCC address. So we can put that in there and start up the, and then it'll run just as a normal DCC loco. Like all DCC locos, it comes with a default address of 3. So we could put this onto a DCC layout and start running it straight away on address 3. Tells us our decoder version, the what it is. It's a Steam 2 21 pin, and then there's other bits and pieces there. Whether we want it to keep running when we disconnect, or we want it to stop. With all Blunamis, if you connect via Bluetooth, it disables the DCC, so you can put it onto a DCC layout. No one can steal your loco. Likewise, if it's in DCC mode on a layout, you can't use the Blunami app to connect to it. So it'll do it on one or the other. But the beauty about the Blunami app and the Blunami system is it'll run on DC or DCC, which is the big bonus, I think, and is, I think, the big selling point of this system. So this is all done for Bruce. He's got his new speaker in there. We've put the 21-pin Blunami decoder in there, which was fairly simple because all we had to do was change a bit of the wiring. It sounds like they're shoveling some coal. You might have to change that if this is going to be a wood burner, because I don't think they shovel wood. I think they just pick it up and throw it in the boiler. But anyhow, that's enough of my warbling, and I'll let you all go, and we'll speak soon.
Now, if any of you have seen me at a train show, you'll always know that I always have a cup of coffee in my hand. If you'd like to keep that up and buy me a cup of coffee, you can click the QR code above and buy me a cup of coffee. Anyhow, keep them on the rails, and we'll see you soon.